This, in my entirely subjective opinion, is my favorite synthesizer that I've ever touched in my entire life. I feel like over the years, a lot of people have naturally asked me what my favorite synthesizer was. And a lot of times I would say something that just had a lot of cultural significance, like a TB-303. I think a lot of other times you would hear a very odd answer out of me, like a Korg X3. The Korg X3 came out in 1993, and I don't think I got my hands on it until 1996 or maybe 1997. But I would put it up on my mattress, since I didn't have a keyboard stand at the time, and I would power it on at maybe 7 p.m., and I would start making patches, and I would start making drum beats and sequences, and then eventually stringing together entire songs. And the Korg X3, by today's standards, is a terrible sounding synthesizer. It's a terrible sequencer. I would hedge my bets that there are very few people using it in music production today. And there's good reason for that. But after doing this, I would open up my drapes and realize that the sun had come up, and the birds were chirping, and there'd be dew on the grass. And repeatedly, time after time, I'd find myself putting 8, 12, 14, sometimes 16 hours into one single synthesizer interface and just doing nothing but being creative with it for that long and losing that immense amount of time in that zone. And that is magical, right? So about 2 weeks ago, Arturia sent me the POLYBRUTE, and I put it on my kitchen table for some weird reason. And I plugged it in and powered it on, and didn't even plug headphones into it, just left it there for a day. And then the following night, I was having a midnight snack, and I just started playing with it. Take a wild guess on what happened next. That's right. I looked out my window, and the sun had risen. The birds had started chirping, and there was fresh dew on the grass. And for the first time in 20 years, I lost myself in a synthesizer and in my own creative zone for an enormous amount of time. But I think the amazing thing about the POLYBRUTE is that I was able to learn the most advanced features of this very advanced synthesizer without ever wanting to look at a manual. I never wanted to look at a YouTube video. I just figured it out intuitively, with common sense. And that's a sign of a very clever and refined user interface. But to the user, it feels like magic. Let's create a really nice sounding monophonic lead patch from scratch. Unison. There's a master cutoff, which does exactly what it says. It kind of controls the cutoff of both filters. However, we can independently wrangle in our filter sound with either one of these and then adjust that with the overall macro, like so. Of course, we have our pulse width. So if we want to assign an LFO to this master cutoff, we could just go to the modulation matrix, select the open number 4 here, and just twist master cutoff, and we're assigned. Then click that little button which connects LFO 1 to the master cutoff. Adjust the amount. I'm only going to have maybe 20%. There we go. That easy. Let's add a little bit of phaser. And let's add some reverb, of course. There's some really nice reverb algorithms in this synthesizer. There are different reverb algorithms like plate, and then a whole bunch of alternate ones. Bright plate, room, dreamy, which is kind of a shimmer. And my favorite, I think, is delayed plate. This one just sounds incredibly epic. Let's turn that into a sequence. I have the metronome enabled here. And let's go to polyphonic mode. And now these lower keys here actually control the transposition of that sequence. Check this out. I actually have 2 patches in one patch, and I'm now going to twist the Morphe key and go to patch B, which obviously sounds a lot different than patch A. So let's hear this for a sec, and let's just modify it into something different. So this is the B version of the patch. This little piece of wood on the side of the synthesizer here is called the Morphe, and it is a highly expressive block of wood. The Morphe controls the morph, however you can assign it to whatever you like, but let's just use it for its intended purpose. Either in the motion recorder or within the sequencer itself, I can actually record automation from the Morphe. Another piece of expressive wood is this ribbon controller up here, and I have assigned that to control the FM level between these 2 oscillators. So that first LFO that is on the cutoff is now a sawtooth, as you can hear, and it's sequenced with the overall sequence. I'm gonna go into experimental mode here and make the aftertouch of the key bed control the speed of that sawtooth LFO. This video kind of covers new territory for me because I got the synthesizer, I set it up on my kitchen table, I started playing it, and my head just exploded. And I'm incapable of giving you any sort of unbiased, objective review. This keyboard will be featured in a lot of future videos naturally because it is my new favorite synthesizer. It's the Cadillac of my studio right now. The POLYBRUTE retails for $399. I'm just kidding, it retails for $2,500, which definitely puts it in the Cadillac area monetarily as well. But I do think that it's worth every single penny. I have synths that cost more than this that I don't like as much as this, that I still would say are a good value. Something that Arturia is getting really good at doing is creating synthesizers that feel like instruments rather than pieces of pro audio gear. And I feel like this is the magnum opus of that. I want to be completely transparent. I was in communication with Arturia regarding the synthesizer before it was finished, not as an influencer, but as a consultant. And it turned out way better than I could have ever imagined. But you should know that I am not paid a dime to make this video, nor did they send it to me in exchange for a review. This is actually my own doing, and this is my own opinion. Arturia seems to be comfortable taking a lot of really big risks, and they took a really big risk with the Matrix Brute, which turned out not to be the best-selling synthesizer of all time. But they took an even bigger risk by doubling down on that and making the POLYBRUTE. And I think that that's actually gonna pay off positively for them. More importantly, I feel like this flagship product cements Arturia's graduation from this smaller French synth company to one that is on the same shortlist as Korg and Roland. So congratulations, Arturia. And my viewers, you'll be seeing a whole lot of this in the future. If you like this video, subscribe to the channel. If there's anything you want me to cover in the future, let me know in the comments. If you want to support this channel, or if you want some behind the scenes things, or if you want some unreleased music of mine, or the music that you hear in the background of this video, or maybe you want some reactor assets or some samples, or you want to be part of a Discord community of a bunch of like-minded radical musicians, then my Patreon is for you. And you can find that link right below. It's a pretty awesome place. And with that, I bid you adieu. Bye.